Okay, welcome. In today's video, we're going to talk about how to configure the network through hotplug. Okay, so for written articles, you can visit our website linuxhint.com, and without a further ado, let's start. So we are going to tell you that what is hotplug first, and then we're going to tell you the steps through which you can actually configure hotplug. You can configure your network using hotplug. Okay, so let's get started. So the hotplug is nothing but it's a package, and obviously, like all other ordinary packages, you got to have it on your system. Okay, so what it does, that it supports the hot swapping. Okay, so that hot swapping is going to be supported while the system is booting, obviously. So the network hardware such as PCMCIA card, PCMCIA network card. I think PCMCIA stands for Personal Computer Memory Card Industry Association. Yes. So just imagine that you're trying to connect PCMCIA card with the network. So now that's where hotplug comes in. It is, first of all, it is going to detect it. Okay, there is a command that we're going to discuss ahead. It is going to detect it, and then it's going to actually configure the network device. Okay, so the network hardware, it can be hotplugged in basically two fundamental ways. The number one way is basically when the system is initializing, when the system is starting, and the second way is that when there is sort of a utility is involved. Okay, so the most common utility that could be involved is discover. Yes, and all the other fundamental modules, like, they have been loaded. Okay, so the idea is that you cannot basically hot plug the network hardware without loading all the fundamental modules. Okay, so they have to be there. So moving on to the next point. So what happens is that you've got to detect the hardware, the new hardware. For example, in our case, let's assume that we are trying to connect PCMCIA network card. So how it is going to detect it? Basically, hotplug package itself is not going to detect it. Kernel is going to detect the new hardware, and then the kernel basically runs the right kind of driver. Okay, so first it detects the hardware, and now after detecting the hardware, it is going to run the specific kind of a driver. Okay, so once that driver is running, okay, so now what is going to happen is that it runs the hotplug script to configure it. Okay, so now what we're going to talk about is that, let's say that if hardware is removed, somehow accidentally it is removed, or you have removed it, let's say intentionally. So now what is going to happen, that hot script, it's still going to run, but it is going to alter its parameters. So it's simple. The concept in programming, if you're familiar, like we have exceptions there and we have else blocks there. Okay, so let's say that if you have done something, if you have written something, a code, that if you want one condition to be true, so in our case, if the network device is connected, it's true. So now it will basically, hard script will run and it will execute that specific block and it will configure it. So now when the device is basically removed, an exception has occurred. Like, the similar concept is in programming. You got to have an exception. So if you don't have any exception, the program is going to crash, right? So in this case, when that network hardware is removed, the program doesn't crash, the hot plug doesn't stop. So the script has the tendency to identify that the device is not there anymore. So now I do not need to actually execute that configuration part of the program, of the script. And what it does, that basically it just alters the parameters. Okay, so I hope you've got the point. So the next point is that /etc/hotplug is the file, is the script which runs when hotplug is called. Okay, so whenever the hotplug is going to be called, /etc/hotplug is the document where your script is residing and it's gonna run. Okay, so if we connect the network card or the hardware or the equipment, what it reflects, what it indicates, that the ETH0, the interface, the network interface, it's ready to use and it is available. So the network interface is, I think, if you have been following linuxhint.com and if you're watching our YouTube channel, we have done it. We have run the command ifconfig in the previous videos. So when you run ifconfig, what happens is that it shows you all the interfaces available on your system. Okay, so go ahead, run ifconfig yourself and see that one of the interface is going to be ETH0. You might have other interfaces as well. All right, so moving on to the next point. So in order to configure ETH0, which is an interface with the hotplug, you got to write this command: if up ETH0 equals hotplug. So the idea is that this command is not going to execute directly, okay, until and unless you do a few changes in /etc/network/interfaces, the interfaces file. Okay, so what you've got to do, that you have got to go on this path /etc/network/interfaces, and after going to that path, what you've got to do, you have to open the file, and inside that file you have to add these two lines: mapping hotplug and then script echo. So now there is one more thing. When you will add these two lines, what would happen is that it will basically hotplug all the interfaces available. Okay, so in case if you don't want to hotplug all the interfaces, then you can specify your own interface that you want to be hotplugged. So in that case, let's say we want ETH0 to be hotplugged. So what we will do is that we will add these three lines. Instead of echo, we will do script grep. Okay, and then we will add the third line in the /etc/network/interfaces file. We'll add map ETH0. Okay, simple as that. So when you will add that, what would happen, that only ETH0 interface will be hotplugged. Okay, I hope you've got the point. So if plugd is the command that we were talking about earlier. So what happens is that it works collectively with hotplug. Okay, so it doesn't work alone, it works in the combination with hotplug, and it is responsible basically for activating and deactivating the interfaces depending upon if the hardware networks such as PCMCIA card they are connected or not. Okay, so depending on their connection or disconnection, if they are available or not, it will basically activate or deactivate the interfaces, okay, such as ETH0. So this command is really powerful, and it can differentiate between a cable connection and a Wi-Fi connection. So it can tell that if the Ethernet is connected via cable or that internet connection is like a Wi-Fi connection. Okay, so this command basically can specify that as well. So basically in this video we have learned that how we can configure hotplug with the network. In addition to that, we have also learned about an extra command if plugd that we can use. And that's it for this video. I hope you have enjoyed it, you have learned something new. Keep supporting us, give us a thumbs up if you have really liked this video, and subscribe us because we are going to put a lot of content in future. All right, so in future there on linuxhint.com a lot of content is coming, so stay tuned, subscribe this channel, and for written articles keep visiting our website linuxhint.com, and I will see you in the next video.